You know, every now and then, an RV manufacturer actually listens to your feedback and does exactly what you tell them to do, and it's so much better this way. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my Coldwater, Michigan hometown superstore. I'm Josh the RV Nerd. This is Bish's RV. And when they came out with this floor plan last year, it was just a flat carbon copy of the Grand Design Imagine 2500 RL. That's literally where the model number came from. They weren't even shy about it. But when you folks watched that debut video, you said it would be so much better instead of the sofa on the back wall and the dinette and the slide. Why don't they put the dinette in the back, surrounded by windows, and put the sofa across from the TV? Well, they just said, okay, we'll do that. And I think this thing is borderline categorically superior to what it was last year. So what we're looking at here for the 25 season, they've completely revamped their nose cap. They've joined Generation Windshield. There's positives and there's negatives to it. It does look pretty sweet, but they've made the bedroom look and feel bigger. The bed also is now a true queen instead of the short queen bed, so they also listened on that. They've maintained the big XL bathroom vent fan, so you get that Fajita Friday fume ventilation going on in there. They also have maintained they have a very awesome, like 80-gallon fresh tank on this thing. So if you're going to be doing some, longer drives away from the parks, you're kind of outfitted there. But they kind of tweaked up their slide system a little bit, so they got the carpet out of the slide. There's technically a little bit of a toe stubber there. It almost reminds me of a lot of fifth wheel kitchen slides, but I don't know that it's really in an area that you're walking into it and it's exactly problematic. But they got rid of the carpet in this. They're also ventless, so that makes them very easy cleaning, pet friendly, spill friendly, that kind of thing. They've also just sort of lightened and freshened up the color palette overall. For the most part, I'm pretty happy with what I see here. There's a couple things that I would like them to do a little different or a little better, and I'm going to point out some of those high points and what I personally perceive as flaws or oversights as we go, and that's just my opinion, but I want to share the good with the bad, with the ugly, with everything in between. And if you appreciate that kind of fair approach, hit that subscribe button, like our video, and let's get in there. And right away, this right here, right when you walk in the door, having that just awesome direct viewing entertainment, that is something that this RV lacked. Last year, the sofa was on the rear wall and the dinette was where we are viewing currently, basically. I like to try to get out of the way and give you like your actual point of view. So if you come in and plop down on the sofa, this is what you're going to look at right here. And the way that it expands the window coverage on this RV is awesome. Now, this style of layout doesn't offer maybe absolute ideal campsite viewing. But when you are sitting down, I think you have enough of an idea of what's going out there. You can sort of, peek around a little bit. Someone might say, well, why don't they just flip the thing and put the kitchen in the slide? You kind of can't do that because the seating and the refrigerator in the pantry in the slide won't fit on the opposing wall because of the entry door. That's kind of the funny thing. The entry door is really the reason we don't have more campsite windows in the RV. If we were all willing to accept a rooftop entry, it could work. Electric space heat and Tootsie Toaster down there, and central vacuum down into the left. You already see that little footprint. Now, it does have the capacity to use the whole pool cleaner kind of, suction kit, but it also has what I call the electric dustpan, just a little toe flicker right there to open the sucker right up. There's good and there's, well, not so good. You could argue bad to this RV. Like, the kitchen feels a little bit cheated, a little minimal in here. I'll expand on what I mean by that as we go. I do want to point out, you see how you have some power outlets up under the overhead cabinet next to that stovetop exhaust vent hood, and we have some easier reach outlets over here. The reason they put them under the overhead cabinet on the sidewall is that sidewall is laminated, that forward wall is not, so it's very easy to run some wiring in there. This, by the way, is a solid surface kitchen counter right here. Now, they did a little bit of a cutaway, but they did square it off. So I would sort of be curious as to what your take on this is. I think what they wanted to do is make the RV look and feel more open and not make the entry area blocked off. I kind of personally wish they hadn't done the cutaway. There's still some decent countertop prep space here, and a squared off corner countertop's a lot easier to work with than an angled countertop, certainly. But it does feel, again, like the kitchen got a little bit cheated. And you might notice how the kitchen doesn't come all the way up to the entry door or the bathroom door. I suspect that will become useful when it comes into travel time, but I'm only suspecting that. Real quick before I forget, I want to point you up toward the ceiling. They've gone to this kind of lightsaber lighting like a lot of brands have done, the Tron lights. They're obviously on a dimmer function. Now, they don't flicker like you just witnessed on camera. In real life, they don't flicker like that. Big pantry, well, normal, good pantry in the corner. They also left a pocket kind of open down here. I'm not a fan of open face storage. I don't mind it when it's down on the floor because then stuff isn't exactly falling. What would you stuff in there? I'm a little bit curious. And while we're looking down at the floor, let's talk about a couple things. How about the fact that it is carpetless now all the way through? What they didn't do is completely re-engineer their entire slide system. That's very invasive and that's very tough. It's still the same slide it was last year. It just doesn't have a carpet flap hiding the fact that the floor levitates like David Blaine. I don't know. Personally, I feel it's a step in the right direction. I like the fact that they got rid of all the carpet. I think that was a cool decision that they applied there. And it's also ventless in the flooring. They have cabinet side ducted heating, so it's very, very easy cleaning. And man, the backside views of this sucker are absolutely fantastic. By the way, the backside views is the name of my cover band that is never going to happen. We only play songs in reverse. Probably why we're having trouble getting started. But look at this. Now, the side windows don't open for airflow. I want to be clear about that. But on the rear window, the left and right window panes do both open for airflow, so you can get some crazy good air in there. Down here, they use their traditional 7-foot true U dinette, but it's an 8-foot wide camper. So that's the reason, if you're looking at this, if your OCD alarms are going off, it's because the table's not exactly centered with the rear window. They had a little bit of extra space that they needed to fill out, so they added a little side stand over here with some power outlets. But I always like to be fair. If I see positives, if I see negatives, I want to point them out. This is a very frustrating thing that's very easy to fix, but it shouldn't have to be this way. The power outlet is just mounted a little bit jihad. We could get that corrected for you because it just needs unscrewed, readjusted, and rescrewed. But as somebody who also camps myself and spends money, I don't look at this any differently than you. I look at it and I say, what else didn't they do because they were hurrying? Like, I think that's a fair thing for someone to say when you see something like that. So I just try to point out the good with the bad. I'm not trying to cover it. I'm not trying to lie for it. I'm just telling you what is there. I do like the fact that they are taking the time, though, to actually finish off like this piece of wood right here, where they cut it. They actually, finished and stained off that end of the wood. And a lot of brands just won't. They just personally, I don't know why I said personally, they just won't. Now, this is a dinette, but it doesn't have to be. Because if you really want to maximize your living space, let's say you've got a bunch of friends over and you're kind of having a chit-chat game day kind of situation or just anything like that. If you want to get that table out and just use it like a lounge, I'm not telling you that dinette is as comfortable as the sofa, because it's not. But we got some folks running around. How you doing, folks? You're on candid camera. You don't even know. Because the windows are mirrored. She has no idea. She's staring right into the camera right now. Anyway, you get the idea. You could open the space up a little bit if you wanted to. Now, the pedestal bases, you might notice, are still right there. If you wanted to, you could just unscrew and remove those. You really won't see a whole lot of signature of that in the flooring. Maybe partially, maybe a little bit, but nothing that's going to be too scary. And by the way, we are walking on 5/8 tongue and groove plywood here. What you could do then is retain the existing factory tabletop and slap on a set of like free floating folding camping legs, so that if you wanted to slide the table around, you absolutely could. Now, again, some of your side windows don't open for airflow. I hope you appreciate that I'll go out of my way to point stuff like that out. So if that's a disqualifier, if you're like, yeah, I got to have airflow windows, respect the fact maybe that we're willing to point that out so that you know what you're getting for your money. Now, you might notice next to the sofa, I just kind of stuffed the tabletop there. I don't think they intended it to go there. I just happened to notice that it fit. Now, opening stuff up and getting a little bit further through the living area here, the hide-a-bed over here is the standard seating setup on this one. I think they have a theater seat option, but I can't remember. Alpha Wolf is funny like that. They have added some money to the product this year, but there are some times that they just don't offer things that seem like they should be available just because it streamlines the factory process That's a thing that as a general consumer, like it's hard for you to have understanding and insight to that. But there are reasons sometimes manufacturers do that. Now, I love the fact they included those full deep drawers below the dinette down there. And did you notice they got rid of the migraine-inducing zebra shades? Folks mentioned for years they didn't love those things, but they were so inexpensive with the bulk buy that Cherokee was getting them that Alpha Arctic Wolf just stuck with them. Well, this year they decided, you know what, maybe a little bit of juice is worth the squeeze, and they spent a couple bucks to go to those blackout roller shades. What do you think? That was a good idea. Now, from the couch, obviously the TV is very easy viewing, but what if you're over here? Well, you might notice how they put a big double jointed swing arm on that TV so that it can twist and shout and pivot about any place that you really please. Also, under the sink, they have maintained a nice little spot for a little wastebasket. It's not a ton, but it's not nothing, you know? I think it gets the job done. Again, overall, I kind of felt like maybe some of the kitchen storage was a little bit minimal in here. It feels like they didn't do anything more than they had to, but they really focused on more of an open living space as compared to a big, bulky kitchen. Now, I've never had somebody trade in a camper because it had too much kitchen storage. I think that there's a couple ways they could have found a little bit better storage in here, but the thing is I'm about to show you, there's actually a little bit more storage than even you've seen so far. Like the pantry over there in the slide, you got the big 12-volt compressor fridge as well. It's one of the 10 plus cubic foot varieties. You may have noticed that we have that sliding pocket privacy door there. But what you maybe haven't seen so far is the fact that there's actually a little bit of shelf storage going on even behind the television. It's what I call a pantry-tainment center. Now, that whatever's going to be in there will certainly be a little bit more visible. I also thought that that could be a handy little spot for like gloves or a dog leash or hats or something like that. Like stuff that you're going to grab real quick, like a flashlight right before you step outside. I don't know. That just kind of made sense to me. Now up here in the bathroom, I have to double check. I think under the sink is where they have things like their water heater. So it's not storage access because there's system stuff down there. There is, however, a couple little handy motion lights, whether it's right here in the bathroom or in the bedroom. So if you wake up there you go. Look at that. That was perfect. If you wake up in the middle of the night, you can see what you're doing. Now, when we leave the kitchen, we go to the tabletop or the bathroom, you do have a thermal foil counter here. I don't necessarily love the big open face shelf that we have over here, but it is also very shallow. I think that if you roll some towels up and stuff them in there, it's going to be okay. Plus, you do at least have the actual medicine cabinet for the Lipitorage storage going on over there. Now, it is kind of nice to me that they do hide the toilet so you're not staring at it from the bedroom, or, well, from the living room. You definitely stare at it from the bedroom. That is a porcelain bowl, by the way. Last year, a couple of their models were way too close to the wall for elbow room. You can see how they've done some tweaking to adjust that, which was very much needed. Pardon my dirty footprints in that nice rectangular shower there. As we get up top here, I want to mention that the RV is 6.5 foot tall. So what that means, if you look on the left side of the screen, if you're a little bit taller than me, your head's going to be in the skylight pretty significantly, because I'm about 6'1" flat foot plus shoes in that footage right there. Up top, though, I've never heard somebody say the vent fan in the bathroom is too good. And I really love and respect the fact that they actually put a good vent fan in this bathroom in there. Now, just like we saw in the living room, the bedroom lights are also on a dimmer switch. And again, this year, they went to that just giant windshield nose cap. But another thing that they updated, and I'm not using a fisheye wide-angle lens, so the bedroom's going to look very congested very quickly. They redesigned a bunch of their models to include a true queen bed. They added some length, but look at this. Not only did they give you a true queen bed, they gave you room to walk around it. A lot of manufacturers, if you get a true queen bed, they'll just stuff it in the place of a short camp queen. And Alpha didn't do that. They redesigned the entire floor plan around this idea while also re-engineering the back end of it. So, you know, they've done a couple things here. Now, I haven't had a good opportunity to display this, but they've updated their window treatments here. And they actually went with it's actually metallic if you do the wedding ring test on those. And if you look at the top, it's actually just like a little shelf in a sense. Now, I don't know what you'd exactly do with it, but It's, I guess, better than no. I don't know. What do you think about that? I feel like I'd find a way to put some knickknacks up there, you know? So this is a Forest River product, kind of like Jeep owners will duck each other. Forest River owners will sometimes give each other frogs, you know, the Forest River owners group frogs. So it is possible at some point that you may have a collection of frogs up there. I'm not sure. Over here on the side, you got your normal hanging wardrobe cabinets on both sides. I love the fact that they include mine and yours left and right dresser drawers. I think that's really nice. But look what they did up here. I love headboard power pockets. I love that. And you can stuff a CPAP machine down there. Well, most of them. Most conventional CPAP machines will fit in there. You may notice you also have household and USB outlets on both sides. Now, the overhead cabinets don't have struts. They don't have that Bob Seger strut. However, they at least included doors that most manufacturers don't. And look at how deep this is. Like, they redesigned their front profile. It's a little more blunt on the outside, but it also creates actual usable, functional overhead storage right there, which I personally think is a pretty cool little feature. They finally have also added double struts to the beds. They were only using a single strut that never did the job before. They finally added double struts. But what's ironic is I don't even know that you really have to worry about it too much right now, because if you notice, it's kind of wide open face storage here. So if you bring a couple totes, I've seen some people say that'd be a good spot for like a cat litter box or a dog bed or anything like that. I don't know. How would you go about using that space? And before you ask, no, you haven't accidentally flipped over to my Only Nerds channel or anything like that. What I wanted to do here is show you a demonstration. If you're even a little bit taller like me and you sit up in bed, you are not going to concuss yourself. I have done some concussion tests in the RVs before and had to undergo some NFL concussion protocols. Thankfully, that won't be the case here. Okay, that's a pleated shade. I was like, I haven't actually checked to make sure there's a shade down there. Do I have weird colic hair going on? Is that just weird camera stuff? How can I be balding and have a bad hair day? And while we're sitting in bed here, to give you a look, they had a little negative space pocket inside the actual wall. So they created just a little coat hook area. It's not a full closet, but you can see my little nerdy vest hanging up over there. And if you also noticed, I have taken the liberty of closing up the slide. One of the things here is this RV has what I'm going to refer to as two-stage travel access. When the slide is closed, you are not able to just straight walk in and out of it. So you're going to use the front door for what I call nap and crap accessibility, while the the door to the aft of the RV, I couldn't, the back door. Oh my Lord, that wasn't that hard, but my brain just totally melted down and went like, I mean, you heard it happen in real time, right? So can you get to everything in the RV? Basically, yeah, you got to walk around. If that's a deal breaker for you, I respect it. That's why I take the time to close up the slides to show you all this stuff so that you know what you're actually getting here. Aha! My theories are confirmed. I've never closed this version of the RV up before, so the refrigerator is totally accessible. And they did, they cheated the kitchen back a little bit, but at a travel stop, that means that you can still get to your drawers, which is kind of cool. I don't know. So let me know, what do you think about the travel access of this? And if you just appreciate the fact that we do it for you, hit that subscribe button, or just leave me a little note that says, hey, thanks, nerd. So taking another look at the weights and measures over on the left side of the screen here, the brochure weights sometimes vary a little bit from the actual weight of the RV. I went over and I checked the tag. This specific RV, as we look at it, scaled out to 6,300, 1,300, 6,300, 1,300, I'm so stupid. 6,313 pounds empty dry weight from the factory. So you may need to adjust available cargo capacity from there, but I thought maybe that'd be extra helpful info. The thing is, it's, I'm just going to call it 31 feet. It's 30 foot 11. It's 31 feet tip to tail. And with that GVW and that length and everything, that is a very reasonable expectation for a lot of later model tow package half tons. Now, this does come in about a foot longer than most other builders of a floor plan like this, Exactly where all that length is coming from, I'm not entirely sure, but it doesn't take a lot to add an extra foot to the RV. The living room did feel a little bit bigger, so that certainly could be one of those things. You may notice that crazy mirror tint giving you a bit of privacy and helping keep the sunshine out of the RV. They've also gone away from the gray exterior skin package, and they've just gone to a flat polar white all the way around. I do like the general minimalism of the graphics. Yeah, they have some sticker decals, but it's not like in your face Nike and Adidas swooshes. Like it's pretty subdued. You know, I think it's classy. It still has a little bit of that blue tint to it, just to give it a little bit of shape and character, you know. For clarity, these are import tires. You know, I try to share all kinds of different things on different RVs. I can't hit every aspect of every RV every time, but I try to point out different stuff. Like that is a tankless on-demand water heater, and you do have both a hot-cold outside utility shower as well as black tank flushes. You may also notice you have a single-headed sewer monster. This is not the poop hydra with like 2 or 3 hookups. It's all in one centralized location, which is kind of nice. And you might notice that your gate valves were actually enclosed up inside of that heated underbelly. Now, it's not, one of the things that I respect is that they don't try to overpromise their weathering package on this. There's so many of these just absolutely bogus, false 4 seasons claims in the industry. And Alpha Wolf says, we're a respectable extended season camper. Here's the thing I can tell you. Were you camping, or I can't even talk. Were you planning on camping when the snowflakes are flying? If the answer is no, you're fine here. You don't got to worry about that. If you were planning to camp when the snowflakes are flying, this may not necessarily be the right brand for you. Now, it's probably going to have to get down into the teens and stay there before it becomes a problem with this RV, but even then, you're going to be chugging propane crazy, crazy hard. You may have noticed that just huge front pass-through on this thing. They give us big doors with magnet holdbacks and slam latches on both sides, so some very nice user-friendly function there. And I don't think I displayed this in the bedroom, but you actually do have a little bit of a built-in clothes hamper over here on the left side, which is something I think more and more brands are realizing you need a place to put yesterday's clothes now that it's today. Your solar charge controller down here, by the way, has a USB plug on it, so that if you want to like charge phones or something outside, you've got the perfect spot to do it. And again, if I'm going to be nitpicky, I do wish that battery disconnect switch was mounted up a little higher so it wasn't as susceptible to shifting cargo, but I'm going to give them credit for very cleanly finishing off that front pass-through compartment. I think that was a really smart decision that they made right there. Now, the underbelly panels on this, they're sectionalized, so it's not like just a one-piece, one-skin underbelly, which is a service nightmare. They're in like 4 or 6 foot sheets, so that God forbid you got to do anything down there, you can actually, see what you're doing. Holy honkin' cow, Batman. That's a huge awning. Look at that. They cleared both doors very nicely, even though the RV is a little bit longer than other builders like this. That's cool. That's really cool. I also like what they did here, because a lot of factory supplied outdoor cookers, whether it's a stovetop or griddle, most of them frankly suck. And not everybody wants them. But you know what? Having a fridge and an ice maker and a little kind of countertop that slides open out here, that's actually really handy, and that's stuff that a lot of people could use. And if you're like, yeah, but I like grilling and I like griddling, well, you can actually get a good grill or griddle, bring it with you, and you can still plug it into the camper. I personally feel, unless a manufacturer is going to make a really good outside kitchen, that is a really smart execution there. Another thing that's really smart, and first-time RVers don't even realize to look for this, is the stovetop exhaust vent hood you see coming out of the side of the RV next to that little camp kitchenette drinky station kind of door right there. Getting the heat and the smells out of the RV while you're cooking is really nice. And I love this. I love this crazy window package on the back of this sucker. Now, if you're in crazy sun country, you're going to keep the shades drawn all the time. But that right there, that's a statement piece. You know, if somebody's walking through the campgrounds and they see that, they stop and they go, whoa, what is that? That is cool. They're backup camera prepped, although you can throw a backup camera on a non-prepped RV, kind of like slide awnings. There's not a bracket that says you can put a slide awning here. You can put slide awnings on this camper, you know. It's also, you see the ladder there doesn't include the ladder, but it has a fully walkable roof, so if you want to get up there and trounce around, you could. Now, I'm not so slim, but we are on the shady side of the camper over here, so I wanted to actually get my contrasting ginger arm on this thing. It does actually have a rear receiver hitch on the back, so if you want to add a bike rack or anything like that, you got the perfect spot to do it. Now, up on the roof, I want to mention they have improved their solar package, and really what they've done is essentially gotten up to industry standard at this point, but it used to only be a 100-watt battery, like tending solar package. It's 200 watts now, but they're using the gauge of wiring and a charge controller that could accept 400 to 450 watts of solar if you wanted to daisy chain extra things up there. So it is a little bit expandable if you want to spend more time off grid, which that 80-gallon fresh tank really helps go along with. But I would also mention, talking about solar is stupid and pointless without talking about batteries. If you're going to go off grid for a while, having something like 400 watts of solar on the roof and 200 amp hours of batteries, that's a really good input-output ratio to give you some better, I will just say, longer weekend kind of camping capacity here. If you want to like live off grid and run the air conditioner, that's generator country, man. So I've certainly talked plenty. What's your take on this? How do you like the updates here? And keep in mind that the general updates like the bigger queen bed, the enhanced solar package, all that stuff, that will apply to the entirety of the Alpha Wolf family, and a lot of that also by extension to the Arctic Wolf fifth wheel members of this family right here. It's actually the same division. Arctic Wolf is trailers, nope. Alpha Wolf is trailers, Arctic Wolf is fifth wheels. Got to get caffeinated before I start running my mouth. Not that that helps, it just makes me talk faster. Regardless, when you're ready, we're ready. I'm going to leave you some links in the video description. First of all, if you're curious or serious about the pricing on one of these, those links will have pricing right on our website. Real pricing, not just some generalized idea of MSRP, but real actual dollar figures, and we don't do hidden fees. Also, I'm going to look up similar versions of this floor plan, whether it's Imagine, it's Cougar, it's Heritage Glen Hemisphere, even a couple Stick and Tins if I think about it. Other brands that have made this layout. And you let me know what you like and dislike, which one you would go with. And if you appreciate, again, how we're trying to be fair about, you know, the highs and the lows of the RVs so that, you know, you get a candid real world look at this stuff. Hit that subscribe button and we'll catch you next time. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone. It is bright.